So have you ever been in or witnessed something that has happened because of your or someone else's gender or sexual preference in the CIA or in the restaurant industry in general?
Yes, I have. It was my roommate, my freshman year. It was a pretty toxic environment. So he would be like saying like fag and dyke in the room, and like describing like other girls he saw on campus as like a dyke or like a faggot. And I was like, can you not say that? Like around me, like what the hell? Like that's just rude as hell. And then he would like wear different clothes and be like, or like he would be like, oh, is it gay if I wore this? I'm like, don't you literally have a girlfriend? Like anything you do is not gay. It's like a sexual orientation, not like a thing. Whatever.
Yeah, not what you're wearing.
Exactly. But I guess that didn't really register. And then like I like to use like, I don't know how do you call it, like I'd call people babe or like darling or honey and stuff like that, because that's what I like to do. And he was like really offended by this. So he sends me a text out of the blue one day and he's like, if you ever call me babe again, I'm gonna beat the crap out of you. And I was like, we had a roommate mediation and my RD basically told me that we can just talk out our differences. Thank you. I would love to talk out my differences between someone that hates me for my sexual orientation. That's nice. And yeah. So they didn't do anything. They kept us in the room. The only thing that took us out of the room for me and him was the fact that he had drugs in the room. Not the fact that he was homophobic, but the fact that he had a plant in his room. The CIA actually cares more about what kind of drugs they're committing or whatever drugs this person's doing than like the safety of their LGBT students on campus.
So the first issue I had with the CIA, when it comes to like the roommate policy, was my first semester and I was trying to actually get roommates. Because I was signed up for a triple and they always said how they're gonna like match us the best they can with someone who aligns with what we answered in our questionnaire. And so they gave me my two roommates, and one of them had answered no, he wasn't ready to be, he wasn't comfortable being an ally, an LGBTQ ally. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I need to email this kid because I don't want to be stuck in a situation where I'm going to have to live with someone who hates me for nothing that I'm going to be able to change. And so I emailed this kid because the school isn't being helpful at all, like usual. So I emailed this kid and told him I saw how you answered your questions on the questionnaire and I'm gay, just wanted to tell you, so if that's gonna cause any issues we need to figure something out. And he didn't respond, and then I ended up getting his number, so I sent him a text saying the same thing, like a huge paragraph. Didn't respond, and I sent him another text like, we need to figure this out now or the school's gonna stick us together in the same room. Then 2 weeks later, he ended up dropping out of the roommate agreement without even texting me or like saying anything, because he couldn't even respond to any of my messages. And then I told the school I didn't want to be put with someone who was gonna treat me differently because of my sexual orientation. So if they were gonna give me a roommate, I wanted to actually answer yes to yes, I'm ready to be an ally. So what did the CIA did again was stick me with another person who said, no, I'm not ready to be an ally. I was like, oh, here we are again, 2 weeks before school, and I know the CIA is not going to do anything about it. So I ended up emailing the school. They never responded. And so then I ended up emailing this kid. He didn't respond either. What a surprise. So I ended up just going into the semester hoping for the best, as it was too late to switch anything. And I just expected I was just going to get stuck with another kid who was homophobic. And I ended up getting lucky. He wasn't like, he did answer no to the questionnaire, but it wasn't as bad of an experience as I expected it to be. But it was just really annoying how every single time I wanted the school's help to figure something out with my roommate, my roommate agreement, they either didn't respond or told me to figure it out on my own.
Yeah.
So it already just stuck me in the position where it's either I was going to be stuck an entire 2-3 semesters with someone who's going to hate me for my sexual orientation, or I was just going to have to figure something out with my roommate, which is what I ended up doing.
As a woman in a male-predominant industry, it is very hard, especially at the CIA, where most of the chefs are old men, to be taken seriously. I've noticed here for sure. I noticed like between the girls in the classes compared to the guys. Of course, the girls get treated better, but it's like I want to be treated equally. To us, and in a way that's nice, but it's in a way it's also like
Demeaning?
Yeah.
it's demeaning in a way, because I'm like, you're only doing this because I'm a girl. Like all the guys in our classes get yelled at, this and that, and like any chef could just look at us and like, oh, it's fine.
Yeah.
You're good.
In my internship, I had a lot of waiters who would just like be very upfront about having an interest in me, and some would like really stare at me a lot, and it made me very uncomfortable. So that's something that I've experienced, and it's something that is just like, I think, not questioned their behavior, you know, like the fact that men will just like openly flirt with you even if you're not open to it, and if you don't like, it's not like you gave them a reason to, oh, I'm gonna flirt with her, I'm gonna stare at her, I'm gonna like just, you know, like, I don't even want to say what I'm thinking, but you know, like, have certain types of behaviors towards women. Yeah, I think it's something that's not looked at, you know, like as it should be. So that's something I experienced.
Yeah, so I worked in the restaurant. It was, oh man, I don't remember the restaurant's name, but my friend, he was actually a friend of mine. Because of his transgender, because he went from being a boy to a girl, he still became great friends with him and her now, because we've never seemed to mind what he became. I accepted for what he is, but the other people in the restaurant didn't. They just looked at her differently, they treated her differently, but they still treated her like a guy. Mm-hmm. So that was the problem. And she wanted that to change, so she told the manager. But the manager couldn't do as much as they did, because if you fired the whole staff, then something would be completely wrong about that restaurant. And even the customers knew, some of the customers that I know that were also like regulars that usually show up, they also knew what was happening too. And I wanted to help her so much, but she decided to quit the job that one day. I still talk to her now to these days, but it's kind of sucks for those people who like, they just want to be different, or they just want to be something that they wish people would accept them for. And I do. I never decide to discriminate against other people. I decide to judge or assume what you are. I just usually do. But my friend, she's happy now. She's found a place where she can like be a part of something better in another restaurant, and they treat her like how I treat her, like nice and kind, instead of like those other guys.
And also just like, you know, I am slowly myself getting into the practice of, upon meeting a new person, I ask what their name is and what their pronouns are.
Okay. So
And
they'll ask back?
Usually.
Okay. And then if so you hope it's gonna become custom that everybody does that, and then that way you will be addressed.
Yeah, I want to help make that become like a societal norm, to just,
wow, that is so cool.
to just like, you know, ask, because people are scared to ask sometimes. But,
yeah, you don't want to hurt people too.
Yes, but for me, at least, and for a lot of my friends who are in the same boat as me, it just shows that like you care enough to ask instead of just assume everything. So like it really does mean a lot to us whenever you do ask.
I am unsure whether we have a month for members of the LGBTQ community, but it's something that we could have. I think that would be very valid, and I also think just maybe also as an RA, a resident assistant on campus, and I think that's something that I haven't had the opportunity to yet, but I think there could be more programming about LGBTQ rights and just normalizing things and having lots of conversations, and also I think just about sex in general, because I think it's something that so many people just don't have that conversation. It's such a taboo to talk about sex, you know, so if you don't have if you're not educated about that and you're getting your information from like sketchy sources, and you know, it just opens precedent for people to do things in such an unsafe way and have such like misconceptions about what, you know, different gender identities or sexualities are and what they mean. Especially if you grow up in a household and someone doesn't agree and then they communicate that in such a hateful way, you know, that can be so hard for the person who identifies if they happen to live in that household, or just how they're going to engage other people in their communities. So I think residence life is part of an individual's education, and I think we could do more on that, definitely. And I think the school in general, there could be more programming about that. There could be definitely a whole month to celebrate LGBTQ rights, because you know, it's diversity, it's richness, it's valid. So definitely I think there could be more that could be done. Having that said, I think this is a pretty safe environment.